In this video, we're going to go over how to approach the Elements of Art project. The materials you're going to need is something to color with, preferably markers or colored pencils, a Sharpie or a black pen, a pencil, and a ruler. You'll also need a square piece of white paper to work with, ideally drawing paper if you have it available, but printer paper is also fine. Next, you're going to be creating and dividing your paper into 8 even sections. You're going to start by creating an X by connecting all of the corners together. Then you're going to create a cross, going through the center of the X that you just created. If you count your sections, you should have 8 sections when you're done. Next, what you're going to do is pick a section. In that section, you are going to write the words Elements of Art. I recommend you use some kind of decorative letters. You can do bubble letters, graffiti letters. You can look up a letter online to copy, but you want to fill that section with the elements of art in text. The thing you're going to do is create a 1/2-inch border around your paper, or a border of whatever size you think looks good. You can use a ruler to create the marks on the edges to create your border, or you can just eyeball it and do your best to get the best border that you can. I recommend a 1/2-inch border. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to write all 7 elements outside of the boxes that you plan on putting your examples. So just a reminder that you have 7 elements: line, shape, value, form, texture, color, and space. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to fill in each of those boxes with examples of that element. You can be as creative as you want to. You can use different types of line, different types of designs. You can draw anything you want in these boxes, so long as it clearly demonstrates that you understand the element that you are placing in that box. So for instance, for line, you can see that I'm using thick and thin lines, dotted lines, curvy lines, jagged lines, all kinds of different lines to fill that space in with designs. Next, you'll see me start in on shape. I chose to fill in simple geometric shapes and connect them with a squiggly shape and then outline them in Sharpie. You can fill this space with whatever shapes that you want, so long as it is just the shape. Next, you'll see me working on value. What I do is I take a pencil and I shade my way across the page from dark to light. You can do this as well, and you can do it with a colored pencil. Can't really attain it with a marker unless you use a specific shading technique. You can also put something in here, like a character or an animal, and show me value by shading that way. You can show me dramatic lighting. You can be as creative as you want, or you can simply shade from dark to light like I did. Next, you will see me working on form. I chose to pick a sphere that has a light casting onto it and shading that in with a shadow on the ground. I want you to be able to demonstrate to me some kind of form. It's probably going to be a reflection of value where light is being cast on it and it looks 3D. If you can't think of anything creative, feel free to just do a sphere just like I did. Next, I'm going to start in on texture. What I recommend you do is Google textures that you would like to draw. It can be anything from a simple weave. What I'm doing here is the metal texture that is usually somewhere on a car. You can feel it as bumps on a metal surface, but you can do any texture rendition that you want to do. But try to make it look like if you touched it, you could feel the texture of that surface. For color here, I simply decided to do a rainbow gradation, but you can feel free to show color in any other way that you prefer. You can do any kind of colored object and show it to be bright, vivid, and beautiful, and that will be perfectly fine. And lastly, space. Space can be a bit difficult to understand and comprehend, so I recommend looking up negative space on Google to see different examples of what that would look like. The most common negative space example you'll see is 2 faces looking at each other that also looks like a goblet or a candelabra, something like that. So if you can see something that looks like a good example of how to use space, feel free to put it in this space. Okay, And after some final touches to my letters and filling in, I am done with my Elements of Art project. Be sure to include your name card when you take a photo to submit it this time so that you can prove that it's yours and no one else's. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. That's it for me. See you later.